Alright then guys, welcome to the video, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a few small bits actually. I thought I'd record all these little bits that I'm installing as and when they arrive sort of things, but hopefully you'll find some of this stuff useful. Today we are starting with probably one of the bits that I've thought about getting for, I don't know, it's been years that these have been on my radar, so I'm very much looking forward to getting those installed. And they are in this box. This is another thing from Carbon My Ride. They were kind enough to send this out to me, which I am very thankful for because, like I said, I've been looking forward to these for quite a long time. So huge shout out to Carbon My Ride. Links are in the description if you want to check this out or just check out their social media pages. Let's get these out of the box and I'll show you what we have. Here they are out of the packaging, and as you can see, these are some carbon fiber door pillars that basically stick over the top of the existing ones, so you don't have to do any modifications to your standard stuff. They just stick on with tape, and these are going to give the side of the car a nicer look and sort of flow that carbon throughout the rest of the car. As I'm sure any of you who own an EP3 know, this is what they look like as standard, just this faded, well, mine's a bit faded anyway, this black piece here. So this carbon fiber piece basically covers this whole bit, and they've even designed in a bit that goes around here as well, so that should look really nice. It's as simple as cleaning this up, getting some double-sided tape on the back of the panels, and then sticking them on. So let's get to it. So before I actually stick this down, I want to clean this up just so there's nothing on there. So I'm just going to use this waterless wash and wax. I don't know, there's probably something better you can use, but this will be all right, just to clean off anything that's on there. So here is the bit. It's fully prepped up and I've got this double-sided tape on it. I've used a slight foam tape, almost like number plate tape, but just thin version of that, just because I didn't have any 3M tape. And this should be good enough, to be honest, but I'm going to peel this off halfway down, so I've still got the middle bit in there on either side, and then lay it into position basically, so it should be pretty simple. And there we go guys, look at how much better that looks. Super easy install, just takes a bit of time just to make sure you get it lined up right, because once this sticks on, that's it really. But as you can see, this looks way better now, so much better than that faded plastic. Nice bit of carbon in the middle of the car, which flows between the front and the back. This is such a great product, and a massive shout out once again to Carbon My Ride for sending this out to me. If you want this, I'll leave a link for this down in the description below. Definitely worth checking out, because as you can see, it almost modernizes the outside of the car because it just looks so much nicer. But there we go anyway, there's that bit installed, and I am super happy. Right, let's move on to the next thing, which at this point in time, I don't actually know what it is. Alright then guys, the next thing is going to be this battery cover. This is a real carbon fiber one rather than my fake carbon fiber one. I got some of this from Liam at KAIZEN. He'd stopped using it, so this is second hand. He just said I could have it. Pretty simple install as far as I'm aware. Literally should be just take off the battery terminals, pull the sheet off, and put this one in the place of the one I already have on there. So this should look a lot nicer. Let's get on with it. Let's get these battery terminals off and get this installed. Right, a couple minutes had passed. I decided to take off the rubber grommets that were around the holes, because those, as much as they looked way better, it actually meant that the battery terminals couldn't sit perfectly down on the actual batteries, which meant they just kept popping off, which isn't ideal. So I took those off really easy. This is actually what they look like. These little rubber things. Might hang on to these actually, could become useful for something. But yeah, so I took those off and now it fits way better. It doesn't look as nice, but really you can't tell. And this one didn't even come with them anyway. So basically how it was, just with some actual carbon. That looks way better and ties the whole engine bay together now. Very happy about that. Right, let's move on to the next thing. So next up is going to be this front badge. I thought this was a real one when I bought it. Paid the money that it costs for a real one, so kind of annoyed that it's not, but it's drastically faded, and actually I can scratch off the top coat. So got another genuine Honda badge. This one is real, made in Japan. Super cool. To be fair, I don't think this is real unless I did this before, but this has got two pins in the back, which I assume line up perfectly if you've got the OEM front grille. With this Mugen one, I'm pretty sure it just sticks on, so I may have to cut these little bits off here, but the difference that this is going to make is just going to sort of update the front end back to how it used to be, basically, because this has only really happened in the last year and a half or so. If you're looking for another one of these, I got this through KAIZEN, so you can use my discount code to save yourself some money on this as well if you need another one. First things first, I've got to figure out how to get this one off. I'm not totally sure how I'm going to going to do that yet. I don't want to ruin this either. Let me put this back on its cardboard. Back in the sleeve. As it is just stuck on, I'm going to try this multi-solve thing that I've used loads of times, told you all about. I'll leave a link for this down below as well. Yeah, I'm going to try and do this with the whole thing on the car because I can't be bothered to take the grill off to go and do it somewhere else. So let's spray this on, get this working, and in theory this shouldn't be too bad, but let's see. So this spray, if you don't know what this is, it basically dissolves like the glue and stuff. So I'm hoping this will just sort of get in behind there and start loosening off the adhesive that's sticking this down. I'm going to leave that for a couple minutes, let it soak in a little bit. Hopefully it's enough to get it to start to come off. Oh, I can already see behind it, so I think we are in luck. It's been a few minutes. I've got this trim prying apart tool and I'm hoping I can just get this in here and it will... Whoa. I don't even know if that was just water or it was just this stuff, but hey, there we go. Okay, so it did have the pins and I did chop them off. So very weird. Maybe it is original. I have no idea. Anyway, it's off. It feels horrible. I'm glad it's gone. So we've just got the adhesive sticky stuff left, which is pretty ming, and I peeled some of it off already down here. This stuff's pretty horrible. So conveniently actually, this spray is the spray that you want for this job anyway. I'm gonna get to spraying this, peeling this off, and I'll get back to you guys once I've done that, because that's pretty boring to watch. So yeah, I'll see you guys in a bit. And boom, there we go. So this is as cleaned up as I could be bothered to do. Looks way better, and that spray stuff is amazing. The glue stuff actually came off relatively easy. It just took a bit of time. It just had to keep peeling it, but it wasn't actually too hard. The spray came into its own though when cleaning up all the residue that was left over. So this is now ready for the new badge, but before I do that, I need to get those pins off the back of it. And these are those little pins that I'm talking about. So I just need to cut these down just so they're not obviously sticking out anymore. Okay, this thing is probably overkill. Almost there. I'm just going to change the head on this thing. There we go, nice and flush now, so let's get this on the car. All right, here we go. Really don't want to get this wrong. Something like that? Yeah, I'd say that's pretty much dead on where I want it, to be fair. Let me give it a wipe down and I'll show you guys how it looks. And there we go, guys. Look at how much better that looks. So much nicer than that faded, horrible old one. Or brings the front back up to kind of how the rest of the car kind of is, because that was really letting the front down. The red pops brilliantly with the headlights and obviously the red in the engine bay. So super happy about that. On to the next thing. Alright then guys, the next thing is actually going to be a quick Q&A. I asked you guys some questions on Instagram, so if you're not already following me there, you should come follow me on Instagram. So I just thought I'd run through the questions that you guys asked me. Yeah, hopefully this gives some more insight into things. Okay, so the first question is, what mileage is the Civic on? And I thought I'd give you a live reading. So I hate the beeping, very annoying. We are currently on 125,940 miles, so 126,000 miles, which I think for a car this old is pretty good going, to be honest. I bought this car with 85,000 miles on it, so yeah, I've done about 40,000 miles. Do you have a bigger 74mm throttle body, and does it make a difference? So I have actually just got the standard throttle body, and if you saw my Skunk 2 inlet install video, you'd know a bit more about that. But basically I decided to stick with a standard one because I didn't see the cost of performance benefit of going for a bigger one, as I'm not going to be boosted or anything in this car. There wasn't enough in it for me to allow the extra expense, basically. So I'm just running the standard one. It was also a fitment thing. I think with the bigger throttle body, you have more fitment issues when installing the inlet manifold. That's why I stuck with the standard one. So sorry, I can't help you with that. Any rare JDM parts you want that you haven't been able to get a hold of? This is kind of a tough one because, as I'm sure you can tell, I've taken my sweet time with this car. So it's been like 4 or 5 years of the build. So I've basically waited for parts to pop up. The only thing that I can think of that comes to mind at the moment, there's two things. One is a genuine Honda, you know, the rubber mat thing that goes in this on the passenger, that little tray thing. That'd be pretty cool to have. And also, well, not that I've really looked for it, but I have seen them around a lot, just not in the condition I want. I would really like a Buddy Club carbon fiber bonnet. So I haven't really looked for it just because I know it's quite a big expense. It doesn't help with the performance, but now the performance stuff is more done, I may look into it. So yeah, that's the sort of thing. But apart from those two things, I've pretty much got everything I wanted to get for this that I can think of off the top of my head. If you could swap your car for any other Honda of equal or less power, what would it be? The first thing that comes to mind is an FD2, to be honest, because it's basically the same thing, just with more practical. EK9 would be pretty cool as well. I think those are the only two I can think of. Okay, next question. This one's a good one. It's really made me think. So if you could change something about the way you built your Civic, what would it be and why? This took me ages to think of some things. Because I've taken my time with it, I've done things the way I wanted to. I think there's only two things that I can really think of. One would be that I would probably get the brakes after getting wheels that fit. I was just in a lucky position where I was able to get wheels that would work with my situation. I was just lucky. If that hadn't been the case, I would have been screwed after those brakes had gone on. So I would probably do wheels I know would clear the brakes, but then I suppose I wouldn't have had the knowledge of knowing what I needed until I'd done it. I don't know. That's one thing. The other thing would be figuring out why my front bumper doesn't fit. I still obviously haven't done that. This gap right here is pretty horrible. The rear bumper doesn't fit great either, so I guess I should just take it to a body shop. But that's one thing. It does annoy me. That's probably one thing that I need to look into, and one thing I wish I'd done differently is sorted this out sooner, I suppose. But that will be on the cards. I just wanted to get the car mapped and all that stuff before I started doing the cosmetic stuff, hence why I haven't done the bonnet and stuff like that. Those are the only two things I can actually think of. DC2 seats, fitment in the EP. This is quite simple really, actually. It's just the Premier Edition Recaro seat rails. I'm pretty sure we had to drill a couple more holes in them for them all to line up properly, but that way at least you know that you're getting the exact fitment. Because when I originally was thinking of doing this, everyone's like, oh, just get DC5 seat rails, those will be fine. And actually that would be really risky, because the rear plate, you'd have to put something underneath to raise it up enough to be able to actually bolt them into an EP3. And that is pretty sketchy when it's the seats. You kind of want those in properly, otherwise in a crash you'd be pretty screwed. So Premier Edition Recaro seat rails on these Recaro speed seats from a DC2 or EK9. How much did you pay for the car? I bought it for £3,300 with 85,000 miles on the clock, which is kind of crazy considering what's happened to the market. I think I got in at the right time. Definitely didn't think I'd be buying an appreciating asset when I bought this car. How's your EP3 doing underneath? Can't really show you underneath without being on a lift, but I've had health checks from Honda, I've had health checks from Motion Motorsport and Honda HQ, and they all were saying that it's pretty good condition underneath considering like what these can be, so I'm very lucky about that. And obviously it's something I'm constantly monitoring, so if it starts going bad, I know that Motion Motorsport have got their seal replacement kits and stuff, so if anything was going bad, I'd probably just go up to them and sort it out anyway. Well, apparently according to all those companies, I have a good one at the moment, but that's all I'm going to say because I don't want to jinx it. Would you ever bag your EP3? The short answer is no. The long answer is I do love a bagged car, but weirdly actually I think one of the only cars that doesn't look good in my opinion bagged is an EP3. I just think they look way better as like a track stance sort of look rather than fully slammed. Pretty much any other car I would say looks better slammed, but I don't think I will, and it's so expensive as well. I'd rather put that money towards something else. And also I'm super happy with how this looks the way it is as well. Are you getting a new exhaust system? I've had this question so much. The answer is yes, but I'm not going to tell you what's going on. I'll have to leave that as a surprise, but it's going to be something pretty cool, so expect that at some point in the future. I haven't got an exact date on that. I don't know when it's going to be at the moment, but I've got something in the works, so that should be pretty cool, and hopefully it'll be something pretty interesting for you guys as well. Okay, it's starting to rain, so I'm going to rattle through these questions now. Have you ever sent any pictures of your EP3 to anyone? I have actually. What's super cool is some of you guys have got my car as your background on your phones, which is just so mind-blowing to me. I had some people in the US do a little review on this, so I've used photos from that, and then also pages repost the car sometimes. But the one that blows my mind the most is that some of you guys have got this as your background. That's mega cool. Would you ever do a video with Jesse in your Civic? So I've actually spoken to Jesse a couple of times, more when he had his EP3 obviously, as you can imagine. I've spoken to him one other time since he's got back into the Hondas. It's something we're both interested in doing, and I guess it's sort of the logistics of arranging it. But if you guys want to see that, you should go let him know and make it more known that you guys want to see a video with both of us or him just driving this car or whatever. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Have you ever been in the back of your EP3? Yeah, actually, the first time I actually went, when I went to buy this car, the first time I ever went out in it, I was in the back of the car. That's because I went with one of my mates who worked for Honda, and at the time I didn't know what I was looking for or anything. So he went in the front seat and I went in the back. It's the first time I went in this was in the back seat, which is pretty funny actually. If you could do any shell swap, what would it be and why? Hard to say really. I don't want to shell swap this because there's nothing wrong with this and I like this car, but it would probably be like a K-swap DK9 or something, or just a K-swap older shape Civic or something. That'd be pretty cool, but not really crossed my mind or something I plan on doing, as I already have a K-series in this. Will a sports cat on an EP3 pop and bang? Good question, and it's a question I don't have the answer to actually, so if there's anyone watching this video that does know the answer to that, please do comment down below, because I have no experience in that department, I'm afraid. And the final question is, do you think you're going to stick with Honda or try something else in the future? So I don't actually hate any brand of cars, to be honest. I mean, Jap cars are my favorite, and this car's I've never really had anything go wrong majorly with this thing, so that's why I've still got it, and kind of proves the Honda reliability sort of thing. So yeah, I'm always open to new things, but I'm quite a big fan of Honda, as I'm sure you can tell, and I guess you'll have to wait and see for what's coming. All right then guys, that's going to do it for this one. Thanks for all your questions. Hopefully also you like all the new little additions. It's sort of just these small little bits, when you put them all together, they just make the car look way nicer. So massive shout out to Carbon My Ride for sending that part out. Links to everything will be down in the description as always guys. So hopefully you've enjoyed this one, hopefully I've answered your questions. Don't forget to subscribe, comment down below if you've enjoyed this video, like it, and I will catch you guys in the next one.